I'm from Bailey's in Queenstown. I'm joined today with Jason McGirr from Fowler Homes. Fowler Homes have a really big focus on fixed price contracts, which I think is super relevant today in the market that we're in. So Jason, thanks for joining us.
No worries at all.
So the first question I have today, Jason, is essentially my loan approval has now reduced, unfortunately, and I can no longer build the home that I thought I was going to and that I had originally planned with Fowler. So what are some of the big ticket items that we could look at reducing or altering to make the build a bit more cost effective?
Absolutely. First thing, depending on how much we need to reduce it by, we can look at redesigning. The first thing to look at, if we need to make the footprint of the house smaller, less square metres, reduce the cost that way. If that's not an option because you need it for the size of your family, something similar to that, look at earthworks. Start there. If we can lower the house instead of importing more fill. Look at the slab, if it's got underfloor heating, if it's an insulated slab, things like this we can remove it, put the pipes in for now, leave the system out until a couple of years down the track, help save costs at the start. Look at things like your cladding options, going from a cedar to a larch, something simple as that, changing a type of timber could reduce the cost of your cladding. Then look at your type of roof, move away from tray to a 5-rib style roof that way, and that's just from the outside of your home.
So something I touched on earlier was fixed price contracts. Now I know that's a Fowler point of difference. So what is fixed price? Tell us what that's about a bit further, and why is that potentially a better option than others in the market offered?
Well, different types of contracts. We can have a charge-up contract where you give us the design for your home, you say what you want in it, there's no fixed price, we just go ahead and build it and you get charged as we go, and you do not know at the start what the finished price is going to be. We can give you an indication, but you've got no real set there, so you don't really know what it's going to cost. So we solely focus on fixed price contracts. We aim for our only PC or provisional sum to be earthworks. It takes a lot of work at the start with clients. It can take 4 to 6 weeks to price a house with clients. Yeah,
because when you price a contract, you actually, instead of giving, say, estimates for each line item, you'll go out and actually ask those particular trades how much each of those costs. Is that kind of the right way of going about it?
Absolutely. So every item in the home, absolutely everything down to the last screw is priced.
Right.
Every sub-trade is priced. So when I offer a client a fixed price contract, that's exactly what it is. The only sum that could change during the build is the earthworks.
Right, okay.
And they'll know that in the first 4 weeks, roughly, of the job starting. After that, the client does not change anything. The price will not change.
And I think that's so relevant, especially in today's market where cost is such a focus, more than ever. Being caught out at the end with more money than you thought was due is frightening, especially if the build's already tight. We've touched on finance already in episode 1 of this series, but I know a huge problem is when mortgage brokers are left, or banks, lenders are left with a large portion at the end that they didn't originally have funded. Is that what you find, that you hear a bit of, or? Absolutely,
and some banks go as far as to say, get our permission to sign any variation before you accept it from the client. So the client could say in good faith they can afford an extra $20,000 when their lending does not allow that. Now, I'm trying to work with my clients to ensure that they know everything at the start, and if it's a real change, if it's during the project, they've really changed their minds and said, now I want to put a fire in. Otherwise, we've gone through this more than once for everything, so that doesn't happen, especially when they indicate that that is the level of lending or money they want to spend on the house. We don't want them being in that position where the house is finished and they can't afford the last, could even be a couple of grand. We don't want that for anybody.
Right, so if I'm going out into a contract, out into the market, and I've got a section already, or I don't have a section, but I'm interested in starting to talk to builders, and I've got some pricing put in front of me, is there any particular things I should watch out for? I mean, you've touched on PC some, but anything else, or could you expand further on what that means?
Yeah, absolutely. So in your price, if you've got the more PC sums or provisional sums, the less certainty in the contract.
Right, okay.
So
Good to know.
at Fowler we aim to stick with one. If all clients can make every decision in that first 4 to 6 weeks, we'll only have one.
Well, thank you so much for joining us today, Jason. I feel like we've touched on some really valid topics that are super important in today's market and really relevant to property owners or people looking at building here in Queenstown. So thank you so much.
No worries.
And we'll see you next week.